Last week on Lesson 4, we discussed the raising of greenhouse gas emissions, which affected the climate with consequences that are clearly felt worldwide. While there are positive steps in terms of the climate finance flows and the development of nationality-determined contributions, far more ambitious plans and accelerated actions are needed on mitigation and adoption. Access to finance and strengthened capacities need to be selected up and much faster rate, particularly for least developed countries and small island developing states. The 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development, adopted by all United Nations member states in the 2015, provides a shared blueprint for peace and prosperity for people and the planet. Now and into the future, at its heart are the 17 Sustainable Development Goals, which are an urgent call for action by all countries, developed and developing in a global partnership. They are set to ensure healthy lives and access to affordable, reliable, sustainable, and modern energy for all while tackling climate change and working to preserve our oceans and forests. In particular, Goal 7 and Goal 13 of the agenda stress the need to enhance international cooperation to facilitate access to clean energy, research, and technology, including renewable energy, energy efficiency, and advanced and clear fossil fuel technology, and promote investment in energy infrastructure and clean energy technology. In addition, resilience and adaptive capacity to climate-related hazards and natural disaster in all countries needed to be strengthened. Also, it integrates climate change measures into national policies, strategies, and planning. Moreover, Sustainable Development Goals 12 highlights the need of an urgent action to ensure that current material and products needs will not imply the over-extraction of resources or the degradation of environmental resources through the promotion of policies that improve resources efficiency, reduce waste, and mainstream sustainable practices across all sectors of the economy. In order to track and measure the process done year by year in each Sustainable Development Goals, the agenda introduces a list of 232 indicators. For example, in the goal number 13, the climate action goal, we have indicators such as number of deaths, missing persons, and persons affected by disaster per 100,000 people, and the number of countries with national and local disaster risk reduction strategies. Since the adoption of the agenda, 185 parties had ratified the Paris Agreement. 183 parties have already communicated their first nationality-determined contributions to the Secretariat of United Nations Framework Convention of Climate Change, while one party had communicated its second. Under the agreement, all parties are required to submit new nationality-determined contributions containing revised and much more ambitious target by 2020. Now let's focus on the progress on the mentioned goals. As at 20 of May 2019, 28 countries had accessed Green Climate Fund grant financing for the formulation of national adaptation plans and other adaptation planning process with value of $75 million. Of these, 67% were for least developed countries, small island developing states, and Africa states. Proposal from an additional 7 countries with a value of $17 million are in the final stage of approval. In total, 75 countries are seeking support from the Green Climate Fund for national adaptation plans and other adaptation planning process, with a combined value of $191 million. Access to electricity in the poorest countries has begun to accelerate. Energy efficiency continues to improve, and renewable energy is making gain in the electricity sector. Despite this progress, some of 800 million people remain without electricity, while access to clean cooking fuels and technologies need dedicated attention. However, much higher level of ambition are required with regard to renewable energy, including transportation and heating. The global electrification rate rose from 83% in 2010 to 87% in 2015, reaching 89% in 2017. Also, the global share of the population with access to the clean cooking fuels and technologies reached 61% in 2017, up from 57% in 2010. Despite this progress, close to 3 billion people still rely primarily on inefficient and polluting cooking systems. Global primary energy intensity ratio of energy used per unit of GDP improved from 5.9 in 2010 to 5.1 in 2016, a rate of improvement of 2.3%, which is still short of the 2.7% annual rate needed to reach the intended target. Much faster change is also required to meet climate goals, even though the absolute level of renewable energy consumption has grown by more than 18% since 2010. As we have already mentioned, ensure sustainable consumption and production patterns is also at the heart of the 2030 agenda, as domestic material consumption increased from 1.2 kilogram to 1.3 kilogram per unit of GDP from 2000 to 2010. Total domestic consumption also rose during the same period from 48.7 billion tons to 71 billion tons. The increase is due in part to raising natural resources use worldwide, in particular in Eastern Asia. Urgent action is needed to ensure that current material needs do not lead to the over-extraction of resources or to the degradation of environmental resources. In 2017, worldwide material consumption reached 92.1 billion tons, up from 87 billion in 2015, and 254% increase from 27 billion in 1970, with the rate of extraction accelerating every year since 2000. This reflects the increased demand for natural resources that has defined the past decades, resulting in undue burden on environmental resources without urgent and concerned political action. It's projected that global resources extraction could grow to 190 billion tons by 2060. Next lesson, we will concentrate on the issue related to the energy access and technologies for households.